A wise man once told me, and told me more than once, that life is the process of diminishing your goals. The first thing you might think is, my God, what an awful thing to say to somebody. But the more I think about it, the more I realize that this wise man meant a great deal more than that. In fact, when I really think about it, this solitary mordant motto could encompass the entire macrocosm of humanity, at least to me. I mean, what is one man's life but a finite string of bitterness, doubt, self-pity, and a general shrinkage of everything from goals to body parts? Moreover, it is over much too quickly, so why not set the bar a little lower, so it can at least seem like you've accomplished something, like you've made your proverbial footprint on the proverbial wet cement that is the world. When in reality, your childhood dream of becoming a famous actor does not exactly translate into being an assistant manager at Jack in the Box. But like I said, this quote has more to it than the vague sense of inflated pessimism which it only seems to preach. The more acute philosopher could even say that diminishing your goals is as natural an exercise as a lion chasing down and devouring the unfortunate antelope. Though the universe may be growing, our dreams, at least for most of us, will sink themselves down from the lofty and extravagant canopy of our youth into the plausible realities, the staunch ground of adulthood. Then again, one might continue to dream their vast dream and see it achieved. Or one might continue to dream their vast dream and live a life of constant pursuit, never satisfied with the lesser rewards they might get along the way, only focusing on that single, indelible want. Hold on. So you see, however, well, okay. However, considering the state of people today, pessimism seems to be the adequate worldview. All around us is evidence that the entwined spiritual fiber of the world is unraveling, string by fucking string. For one, loads of us are dependent on pharmaceutical drugs. The pill culture dominates the human calendar. Zoloft in the morning instead of coffee. For lunch, some antihistamines in lieu of gazpacho. And for dinner, a light salad of barbiturates, opiates, and sleeping capsules. All topped off with a dash of raspberry vinaigrette. Mamma mia. Seems to me that we are pounding our fists to the lively stone in demand of a cure-all. We would be fine if every man, woman, and child were to sate themselves once on some godly sweet nothing of a panacea, some giant white tablet of aspirin with the 10 Commandments inscribed upon its majestic walls, whose uses not only treat moderate headaches, but provide an answer to life itself. Oh yes, if we had a giant aspirin, everything would be fine. All unpaid mortgages would be paid. Gas station toilets around the world would be plunged clean. And Osama bin Laden would have a brain embolism and die. The problem is that this panacea does not exist. And to believe you have found it means you have lied to yourself, lied like a dirty, lying pig. The truth is, or I should say might be, that life is merely a massive timetable of problems and discomfort that build off of one another. And at times, for some people, most times, for some people, no times, you can put a few together to get something good. After all, you can't have payoff without hardship. I mean, part of growing up is dealing with problems. And yet people continue to soak in the vinegar of self-pity and fear, hoping for Shangri-La instead of moving forward. People are so desperate to find relief that they succumb to pills for the craziest reasons. Pills to get thinner, pills to get fatter, pills to make you love, pills to fix what you when you've loved for more than 4 hours, pills that calm you, and pills that wake you, pills that cure that cramp in your leg, or pills to cure the spots you see when you run up the stairs too fast. Wow. Yeah, let me just tap the heels of my magic fucking booties together 3 times so I can get right out of this la-la land where the prescription drugs are so overwrought that even the hypochondriacs are saying, whoa, now don't you think that's a little much? I sometimes wonder what the world would be like if no one had a crutch, be it a pill or a plant or a liquid. What if there was never a blur, never any escape? What if reality was to be constantly faced instead of distanced with drugs? The problem, or at least part of the problem, is that no one wants to accept that very possible decline that I was talking about, the decline, the aforesaid diminishment of their goals. To tell someone that their dreams will shrink as they get older is the same as saying that their life is nothing more Their life is nothing more than a web-ridden crypt in which they wander blindly, forever through the dark, speaking and hearing only their echo against the tangible walls. People get older and want their minds to open and their dreams to grow because in their youth, life was about growing and opening your mind to the world. But because they're old and have already chosen a path in most cases, mind you, they don't have the physical or mental capacity to reboot themselves. They have shoved their 2 feet into the quicksand of familial obligations, or they have been ziplocked into the hermetic seal of their job. Let me emphasize, of course, that having a job and a family is by no means a negative thing. It works pretty damn well for a lot of people. That being said, there are some who do not have any delusions of grandeur, of growing up physically and witnessing mentally the maturation of their goals into an accomplishment that ultimately changes them for the better. Take hippies, for instance. I defy you to find a hippie now who wasn't a hippie when he or she was younger and will continue to be a hippie in the years to come, weaving hemp bracelets by the thousands and sleeping like cherubs on mattresses stuffed with the torn pages of so many Jack Kerouac novels. Unlike hippies, at some point in our lives, we will all ask ourselves, will I make something of myself? Will I change the world? Or will I just be a fly stuck in a window, ramming into the glass, looking in vain for holes to escape through, and screaming, "Help me! Help me!" But for the fly, all of it is futile, you see, of course, because the fly does not have the ability or the otherness to comprehend its surroundings. The fly in the window has merely become a prisoner to things it cannot control, things bigger than itself, and that is why the sentence, "Life is the process of diminishing your goals," seems so repugnant to us, because it toys with the notion that people have no control over what they'll become and must usurp their dreams to the will of life, some daunting monolithic will, kind of like that black monolith in the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. If you've never seen it, then you'll think I'm crazy. But then you have to remember that this quote is not law. It is just not the case for some people. If everyone on Earth always diminished their goals, we wouldn't have had the theory of relativity, the light bulb, the Big Mac. Each one of these things is a crucial facet to the way we live, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I guess you could say I'm loving it. But really, the point of all my convoluted mantra is to tell you that when you hear somebody tell you about life lessons, only half listen, even if it is a wise man telling it to you. People talk about life mostly after they've been abusing substances. They do it because they can't think of another topic for their speech, or they do it to put up a facade of being mysterious or deep or pensive, or all of the above. And even if someone is serious when they tell you life is the process of diminishing your goals, you should take it with a grain of salt, because that person is basing it off their experiences and solely theirs. In terms of my opinion regarding the wise man's quote, I believe you should only half listen, because if you keep it in mind constantly, it will fill you with a bitterness, doubt, and general shrinkage, blah, 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 blah. Eventually, it will keep you from accomplishing anything at all. The thing is, if you were to doubt your future, you would become fearful of the process of life, which is, after all, nothing more than the relentless propulsion into the future. I know firsthand how daunting the prospect of this decline is, which is why none of you should give it much thought. I personally had mused upon the concept of shedding the quixotic furnish from my goals in life, and ever since, the idea of it has been rattling around in my brain like a marble in a tin can. It annoys the hell out of me, and to be honest, makes me scared. I don't want to fucking think about that what I want to become won't be what I will become. But mostly, I will, most likely, I'll have to shrink my ambitions in order to be happy with myself. Most likely. In conclusion, I guess your best bet is to aim as high as you want right now when you're in high school and the world is open. And then let nature take its course as it sets you on a more specific, more local path. And if you really want to change the world, I mean really, really want to, then start now. If you want to be a great doctor, read Grey's Anatomy. Yes. Read, as in it was a book before a TV show, or subscribe to medical journals, or study medicine in your spare time. If you want to be a famous actor, take classes in your spare time. Read books on dramaturgy or method acting. Practice, practice, practice. If you want to be a great hockey player, dream I once had, then the same goes for you. Practice in your spare time. I know some of you will say, What about my friends or my homework or my trip to the Galapagos Islands? To you I say, in order to really want something, you have to give something else up. Be it friends, grades, or snorkeling off the picturesque Santiago shores. Accepting your limitations does not mean giving up. After all, you control how many limitations there are. Accepting your limitations means feeling fulfilled and happy with your life. And this paradoxically is the difference between someone who changes the world and someone who merely floats along its surface. In fact, I'll bet that someone who feels fulfilled and happy is much more use of a use to society than someone who chases dejectedly and uselessly after the giant aspirin. There is no giant aspirin. And even if there was, how would any of us be able to swallow it? Don't just bang your head against the glass like that idiot fly. Just open up the window. But then again, what do I know about life? I'm not a wise man. I'm a punk kid. We're all fucking punk kids, every one of us. We're young and hopeful, naive, humorously angst-ridden, and most of us don't have any serious diseases. That's what people love about teenagers. Most of us don't know what the fuck is going on. So let's not worry about what the future brings. Let's be optimistic. Even if there might be a swirling abyss of personal agony and failure awaiting us, to be afraid of something such as that is like being afraid of every single really nasty mosquito bite you'll ever have. It's going to happen, even if it does leave a mark. I mean, being afraid of our decline is what makes us human. It is our vigor for life that makes us want to help the world so that, mentally, the value of our soul might be validated. But as I said, we are young. Let's use our naivete to our advantage and dream big now, so that even when most of us do start that inexorable dip towards sober aspirations, the lowest of those aspirations will still be higher than those who didn't have any aspirations at all. So, that's it. There it is. For you, the viewer. It's called The Triumph of Life. Because, well, you think that'd be kind of lofty, but kind of a lofty title. But, really, it's a reference to the Shelley, to great poet who wrote a fragment, superb fragment called "The Triumph of Life," and in which he sort of breaks down the idea of romanticism and junk, and speculates on his own fate, which he knows, which he feels is coming shortly. He drowned before he was 29, I believe. And it's tragic. I mean, like, he really made something of himself. So, again, there it is. His name's rolled.